What are intelligence officials worrying about this morning?
Something that sows discord and confusion.
Frank Figliuzzi was assistant director of counterintelligence for the FBI.
Imagine an infrastructure attack, maybe in some key precincts or states, swing states for the election, where maybe power goes out, or maybe the 911 service goes out.
Until earlier this year, Matt Drake oversaw the FBI's cyber threats from foreign governments. First, the good news.
Is it clear to you that the states and localities are in a better position than they were in 2016 to fend off cyber attacks?
Absolutely. I think they are. They're receiving a lot of help from the federal government. A lot of states and local systems have taken the issue very seriously and done a lot of work in the last 4 years to harden their systems and their processes.
But will it be enough?
We have identified that 2 foreign actors, Iran and Russia, have taken specific actions.
Just last week, officials announced they've documented attacks against state and local governments coming from Russia's FSB, successor to the KGB, infiltrating dozens of state and county computer systems and, in at least 2 instances, stealing material. Officials will not confirm where the breaches occurred. They also acknowledge in a couple limited cases the Russians gained access to election-related networks. A source briefed on the matters tells NBC News those states are California and Indiana, although officials were quick to say the systems did not have to do with the casting or counting of ballots. So, what are the range of problems the U.S. must protect against?
The first is a direct attack on the election infrastructure and or results. The second is social media propaganda and perception management about how we think about the election. And the third could be some unrelated event in the cyber world that just causes confusion.
Turning off the power in even one American city would certainly do the trick. How likely is it?
I put the likelihood of the social media propaganda as very high. The good news is I would put the odds of foreign powers actually changing the outcome of the election at a very low to medium level.
But upping the concern, the identity of the hackers. Called Energetic Bear, they're highly skilled Russians who, over the past 5 years, have breached portions of America's power grid and even nuclear power plants. Another frightening possibility. Without changing a single vote, the Russians or some other foreign government could certainly undermine people's confidence in the results. Intelligence sources tell NBC News that the Russians had a plan to do just that in 2016, if Hillary Clinton scored a narrow victory.
The nightmare scenario for U.S. intelligence officials is if there's a contested election and one of the candidates is crying fraud. That becomes such an easy area for the Russians to attack, both in terms of a cyber attack and also disinformation to raise questions about the result.
And finally, ransomware attacks.
Last year, about 966 local governments were attacked by ransomware, and the crooks got away with about $7.5 billion.
Ransomware attacks on cities and localities could have a devastating effect during the election, couldn't they?
They absolutely could. And ransomware has become a popular vector for malicious actors to use. If it were launched shortly before the elections, it could be difficult for some places to overcome that.
You can't possibly plug all the holes, can you?
They absolutely can't. If a foreign adversary is determined to get into some part of it, chances are they're going to do that. And that's why you have entities like U.S. Cyber Command out there trying to send a message of deterrence to the Russians and other foreign governments. Don't do this or you will pay a price.
Experts tell us that an all-out attack by a foreign government is highly unlikely because of the red line it would cross. But it's worth noting what's called a perception attack, a perception hack, seems to be already underway. That means a foreign government like Russia is suggesting that they could, in fact, access our election system and interfere, whether they could or not, and that is troubling.
Cynthia, the staggering number of ransomware attacks that you just mentioned there in your story, those attacks on local governments, have we seen those attempted on a national level? Anything that might be done to try and impact this election?
I'll tell you, earlier this month in Georgia, there was a ransomware attack of a city government. And what happened was the election system, which officials do not think was the target, was affected. It shut down voting map locations online. It also shut down temporarily the ability of that county to validate mail-in ballots by taking down the signature portion of their website. So keep, as they say, stay on the lookout. I think it's really also worth noting, this is a hard topic to talk about. The Secretary of State, a Republican in Washington State, said to us, look, election security is a lot like Fight Club. First rule of Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club. First rule of election security, you don't talk about it. So we know a lot is going on that we cannot see and probably shouldn't, but there are barriers being erected, and I think it's fair to say that the states and federal government are doing all they can to make sure nothing dreadful happens.
Cynthia McFadden, I love the fact that you're a big Fight Club fan as well. Thank you, Cynthia.